So I'm here to tell you, I suppose, just to put a bit of context around why tourism matters and where tourism, the opportunity for you, and where tourism sits in terms of its importance to the economy and the lifetime and the future of Scotland. I mean, as I keep reminding everybody, oil will eventually run out. People always will holiday, go somewhere, whether it's a day trip, a foreign trip, and they will always eat food and they will always drink. So the value of tourism at the moment is roughly £12 billion turnover to the economy. About 5 billion of that comes from overnight stay, and that's how we've measured ourselves when we benchmarked setting out our ambition of growth in 2012. 207,000 people, slightly understated, probably about 250,000 people work in the industry, but its contribution to GDP is significant. And I think the industry and the sector profile has raised considerably over the last few years. So I say it's everyone's business already. It is, whether you're a lawyer, an accountant, a farmer, a hotelier, an innkeeper, an engineer on a mountain railway, a policeman. Everybody has a touch point with a tourist. So that's why we can genuinely believe and advocate in that way. In 2012, we launched our national tourism strategy, Tourism Scotland 2020. It was very clear it's an industry-led strategy, so they're by industry, for the industry, and 100% supported by Scottish Government, the enterprise agencies, and there's real alignment behind it. But the vision and the ambition was very clear. It's quite simply to make Scotland a destination of first choice for high-quality, value-for-money, memorable experiences delivered by skilled and passionate people. You are those skilled and passionate people, thank you very much for that. And we do, and we can, and we must continue to deliver high quality, but most importantly, unique and memorable experiences. The changing world of the traveller today is that they are looking for memorable experiences, and the word that I want you to remember is experience. Experiential travel is what it's all about. It's no longer the rigid sort of package holiday, the traditional holiday, which we all like to go away and enjoy. People are now wanting to experience more. Our strategy here is built around turning assets into experiences. And it's through the assets of nature, heritage, activities, business, tourism, etc. is really where those core pillars of our focus is right now. And it's where it will continue to be in the future. But what can we do to use our core assets? How can we make them more memorable? How can we make them unique? And food, drink, accommodation, transport are the main drivers of that strategy, but underpinning it all, right at the very bottom, it's all about leadership and collaboration. Working with your communities, working in partnership with agencies, with government, but with everybody to actually really realise its potential. And as you know, I think, although I'm looking here and it's just seafood and I'm looking at farmers, I'm thinking, oh my God, I've got the wrong gig here. But you know, our food and drink and our provenance is without question one of our, if not our strongest asset. 21 pence in the pound is spent by a visitor coming to Scotland. So, you know, when you think about £5 billion worth of revenue, that's £1 billion is spent on food and drink already by visitors. That's excluding the day visitors, the many people local who travel far and wide to go off and enjoy a day out here, which I did a few years ago, digging in the digger pit, trying to find my wife's wedding ring in the sand, which was, thankfully, it was a result, and I didn't have to pay up again. But Caroline referred to the Food Tourism Scotland launch. Scotland Food and Drink, who I'm sure you'll all know, our sister organisation and the Scottish Tourism Alliance came together, gelling two key bodies, the really significant bodies together to shape and produce what is a food tourism action plan for the country. And our aim is to double the value of spend by a tourist by a further £1 billion. Now, what is the definition of food tourism? Yes, drink comes into that, so it does include, obviously, the craft beers, the gins, the whiskies, and everything else. But as you'll see, and I'm not going to necessarily, well, I will read it out. Food tourism includes any tourism experience in which a person learns about and or consumes food and drink that reflects the local cuisine, heritage or culture of a place, including the active pursuit of a unique and memorable eating, drinking an agritourism experience. You can tell that Caroline was on the panel when we decided on this description. But it's absolutely true. Agritourism is right at the heart of the definition. And this is about assets into experiences. It's taking many things that we already have. The North Coast 500, it was there already. It's about using existing assets. It's not necessarily about building new ones, such as the hydro, and actually really bringing them to life, but underpinning all that and making sure that we tell the stories that sit behind it, and it's really rich. So, as I said, why are we doing it? It's quite simple. It's a bit of a no-brainer, really. You know, visitors spend £1 billion already. Everybody has to eat, you know, when they're here. 166 million day trips, or million trips in total. That includes, obviously, the visitors who are coming inbound and the visitors who are on our doorstep. And Scotland's reputation for food and drink is phenomenal. So there is expectation to come here and consume and find and enjoy our local produce. But do it in that unique way, and I go back to that mega trend, the future trends, the traveller trends, the older, the 50 plus community, the bucket list experience, wanting to go and milk a cow, wanting to go and herd sheep, and then of course the family audiences and the younger generation going off to do different things and do some crazy things as well, which you can do on your farm, whether it's coming down a zip wire or going down an orb down a hill or something, or even digging in a sandpit. Doing stuff together in the outdoors and getting young people out off their Xboxes and everything else into nature is really important too. So how are we going to get there? Well, there's a real commitment to partnership working. We've established a board. The board diversity is very, very broad. It's including, you know, the farming community, to the head chefs, to the waiters, the waitresses, everybody who is in that food chain, because it's important that everybody recognises and see themselves in this industry and as part of this journey. Because without a joined up approach, we're not going to achieve our aims and our goals. Has to be fully collaborative, and it's 100% supported by government and the agencies in the same way that the national plan is as well. Visit Scotland are here to help. I see Jamie in the audience, so the global marketing as well as destination marketing. But how do we get more businesses as well to, you know, buy local, see local, break down those barriers of perception that it's too expensive? Well, those are all things that will join up those dots. What's going to make it easier and more cost efficient for farmers, for producers, to get their product actually into restaurants and into hotels, and what's going to convince those hoteliers and restaurateurs to buy Scottish? Quite simply, there's proven fact that anybody who comes here and wants to visit Scotland and has a choice of choosing to eat local produce will pay, and they'll pay a bit more. So our growth of 1 billion is actually by lifting the spend per head from 21p to 25p in the pound. Not difficult, and I'm sure together we can do it. So our 5 pillars that have been identified that will deliver the success is, first and foremost, is really to establish this sustainable local food supply chain. How do we get that local community buying local food, local businesses, and together, as Caroline was alluding to earlier, the community supporting and really promoting that food produce on their doorstep in everything that they do. But wrapped around with other unique, memorable experiences that are consistent in the quality of the experience from end to end of that journey. And then products and experiences for all, the real rich storytelling, and actually, importantly for us, is having that workforce to deliver it. And that's one of the biggest challenges that we face in this country at the moment, both from our own sector, and I know from the farming sector as well, from the seasonal workforce migration and reliance on EU labour and migration labour is absolutely essential. And believe me, we are sitting firmly at the heart of that conversation and trying to ensure that we're not going to be exposed. And underpinning that, innovative collaboration, doing things differently, reaching out, daring to be a bit different, taking a step and actually really going for it, not doing the norm. People are more and more open to not doing the norm anymore. I had the pleasure of working in a theme park, and not doing the norm, I can assure you, is how somebody who develops and designs theme parks, it's daring to be different. It's actually offering something that's unique and memorable. So here we are. So this is a unique and memorable experience. You'll recognise that. That's the Calmac ferry crossing from Ardrossan to Craigmuir, or actually it's a bit more like that. So, and the reason I say this is that, you know, CalMac, to be fair, there is a commitment by them to making their total experience unique and memorable, and they do it with food and drink. They're signed up to Taste Our Best, they take produce and showcase it on their ferries of which destinations they're travelling to. So there is that commitment, and being unique and memorable and having a bit of fun with it is really important. And there's an opportunity now for you as a farming community to diversify the unique and memorable cow to be something a bit different as well. So get behind it. I would strongly, strongly recommend anybody who is thinking about diversifying and looking at this opportunity to absolutely throw your hat in the ring and go for it. Never lose the opportunity to plug your own gig as well. 13th and 14th of March, Scott Hot, which is the largest food and drink show in Scotland, will be taking place at the SEC alongside our own national conference. There's big conversations in there around sustainability, responsible tourism, the future outlook for tourism in Scotland and global tourism, and also about how you surprise and delight people when they come. So hopefully we'll see some of you there. The future is in our hands. That's the title of our strategy as it was back in 2012. It still is today, and it will take the industry together to succeed. So I hope you will come on the journey with us. Thank you.